Welcome to EPG Pathshala, module number 37, the role of NCERT in development of educational technology. The educational problems are diverse, so are their solution in providing resources in the classroom to the distance education. These multiple facets of technology has brought changes in our life. The appreciation of the role of educational technology as an agent of change in the classroom is influencing the teaching learning process and its roles in systemic issues like reach, equity and quality. There are various government and non-government organizations at micro and macro level are engaged in the development, disseminations and systematic implementation of educational technology for the purpose of quality education. The NCERT is one of the such institutions, plays a vital role in the development of educational technology. Let us begin with the objectives of this unit. After the completion of this module, you will be able to state the various functions of NCERT, recognize the efforts made by NCERT in the development of educational technology, appreciate the efforts initiated by NCERT in the area of educational technology. The establishment of NCERT. The National Council of Educational Research and Training is a top research organization. It was set up by the Government of India on 1st September 1961 with headquarters at New Delhi. It assists and advises the Ministry of Human Resource Development of the Government of India in the formulation and implementations of its policies and programs in the field of education. It also works in collaboration with the departments in the states, the universities and institutes following objectives of school education. It is concerned with all problems of school education in the country and endeavors to improve such education through developing various programs of research, publication, extension training. It is concerned with all problems of school education in the country and endeavors to improve such education through developing various programs of research, publication and extension training. NCERT also provides technical advice to states as to how to improve the standard of state science exhibition and their exhibits for national science exhibitions. It also maintains close contact with similar national and international institutions throughout the world. It communicates results of its researches to a common man by publishing books and journals. The following major constituents of NCERT are pivotal in providing academic and technical support for the improvement of school education. National Institute of Education NIE situated at New Delhi, Central Institute of Educational Technology CIET New Delhi, Pandit Sundarlal Sharma Central Institute of Vocational Education stands as PSSCIVE situated at Bhopal. Regional Institute of Educations. There are 5 Regional Institute of Educations established at various parts of India such as Ajmer, Bhopal, Bhubaneswar, Mysore and recently it has started the wing in Shillong. And the 5th one is Field Advisors Offices in the states. The main objectives of NCERT and its constituent units are to undertake, aid, promote and coordinate research in areas related to school education, to prepare and publish model textbooks, supplementary materials, newsletters, journals and other related literature, to organize pre-service and in-service training program for teachers, to develop and disseminate innovative educational techniques and practices, to collaborate and network with the state educational departments, universities, NGOs and other educational institutions, to act as a clearing house for ideas and information in matters related to school education, to act as a nodal agency for achieving goals of universalization of elementary education. Major programs and activities of NCERT. The NCERT through its various constituent units carry out different programs and activities. The major programs and activities of NCERT are, first of all, we will discuss about research. One of the major functions of NCERT is conducting and supporting educational research. It offers training in educational research methodology through its different departments such as National Institute of Education, Regional Institute of Education, Central Institute of Educational Technology and Pandit Sundarlal Sharma Central Institute of Vocational Education on different aspects of school education and teacher education. NCERT also supports research programs of other institutions by providing financial assistance and academic guidance. Assistance is given to scholars for publication of their PhD thesis. Research fellowships are offered to encourage studies in school education to create a pool of competent research workers. The another program of NCERT is the development. One of the important activities of NCERT is developmental activities in school education. The development of curricula and its renewal is another major area of work of NCERT. It also develops instructional materials for various levels of school education and making them appropriate to changing needs of children and society. Developmental activities are also carried out in the areas of educational technology, population education and education of the disabled and other special groups. The pioneering developmental activities include development of curricula and instructional materials in school education in the area of preschool education, formal and non-formal education, vocationalization of education and teacher education. The next program of NCERT is training. This is one of the important activity of NCERT, pre-service and in-service training of teachers at various levels such as pre-primary, elementary, secondary and higher secondary, special education, guidance and counseling, vocational education and educational technology are the areas of training in which NCERT works. The Regional Institute of Education at 5 different zones of India also undertake the training of key personnel of the states and of state level institutions and training of teacher educators and in-service teachers. NCERT has incorporated groundbreaking features such as integration of content and methodology of teaching, long-term internship of teacher trainees in the actual classroom setting and participation of students in community work through the pre-service teacher education programs at the Regional Institute of Education. The next activity of NCERT is the extension. Various departments of the National Institute of Education, Regional Institute of Education, PSSCIVE and CIET are engaged in various ways in the comprehensive extension program. Constituents of NCERT work in close collaboration with various agencies and institutions in the states. It also works extensively with extension service departments and centers in teacher education colleges and schools. The purpose of working is to provide support to different group of personnel including teachers, teacher educators, educational administrators, question paper setters, textbook writers, etc. It has also extended its service to rural and backward areas. The main idea behind it is to reach out the functionaries in these areas where special problems exist and where special efforts are required. It organizes special programs for the educationally disadvantaged sections of the society. The extension programs of NCERT cover all states and union territories of the country. Publication and dissemination is another activities of NCERT. It publishes textbooks for different school subjects for classes 1 to 12. It publishes textbooks for different school subjects from class 1 to 12. It also prints or brings out workbooks, teachers' guides, supplementary readers, research reports, etc. Along with it, NCERT publishes instructional materials for the use of teacher educators, in-service teachers and teacher trainees. These instructional materials are produced with great care through research and developmental activities. These are provided as model to various agencies in states and union territories for adoption and adaptation. NCERT publishes several journals such as The Primary Teacher is published both in English and Hindi and aims at giving meaningful and relevant educational inputs to primary school teachers for direct use in the classroom. School Science serves as an open forum for discussion on various aspects of science education. Journal of Indian Education provides a forum of encouraging original and critical thinking in education through discussion on current educational issues. Besides these, a house journal called NCERT Newsletter is also published in English and Hindi. The next program of NCERT is exchange programs. The exchange programs of NCERT are carried out through the interaction with international organizations such as UNESCO, UNICEF, UNDP, NFPA and the World Bank. The main objective of interacting with the international agencies is to study specific educational problems and to arrange training programs for personnel from other countries. It acts as the Secretariat of the National Development Group for Educational Innovations. The NCERT has been organizing and offering training facilities usually through attachment programs and participations in workshops to educational personnel of other countries. The NCERT takes action as a major agency for implementing the bilateral cultural exchange programs that entered into by the Government of India with the governments of other countries in the fields of school education and teacher education. Let us see the efforts of NCERT initiated in developing educational technology. NCERT plays a significant role in the development of educational technology single-handedly through its constituent units and by collaborating with other agencies. Some of the initiatives taken by NCERT in the areas we will discuss: establishment of Central Institute of Educational Technology, otherwise called as CIET. Educational technology at the apex level was established in 1984 with the unification of the Center of Educational Technology and Department of Teaching Aids. The CIET is concerned with the development of educational technology, mass communication media and extends educational opportunity to improve the quality of educational processes, practices and outcomes. Activities of CIET also include design and production of media software, namely radio and television programs. CIET also holds programs to build competencies of media personnel from the State Institute of Educational Technology for development and utilization of such software. The institute disseminates its software through broadcast and non-broadcast modes. Need-based researches and evaluation activities are undertaken and studies are carried out to assess the effectiveness of materials and programs by CIET. Enhancing media program is one more activity of NCERT. Mass media like radio and television have been used in an irregular fashion for education for a long time. In 1970, the Ministry of Education took up a scheme of educational technology. Under this scheme, an ET unit in the ministry, a Center for Educational Technology under NCERT and ET cells in 6 SITE states were set up in 1974. Both CET and DECU, which stands for Development of Educational Communications Unit of the Space Application Center, Ahmedabad, conducted formative and summative research in respect of the programs that they had carried out. CET launched a multimedia program of in-service teacher training, which was highly successful. There was excellent coordination between the state units and CET for the first few years. Every program of CET was directed towards solving an educational problem of enhancing learning to achieve well-defined educational goals. The programs were related to the education of marginalized communities. However, this vision was lost sometime in the early 1980s. With new directives from the Ministry of Human Resource Development, the close coordination between the state units and the central unit virtually came to an end. The launch of the Indian national satellite in 1980 and its availability for educational purposes led the Ministry of Education to take over the production of educational television programs for transmission via Doordarshan. NCERT for Education was conceived as a tripartite project and was supported by UNDP, UNESCO and Government of India. Under its support, an educational technology division in the Ministry of Education was set up. CET was merged with the Department of Teaching Aids of NCERT and was renamed as Central Institute of Educational Technology. Some of the ET cells in the states were upgraded to State Institute of Educational Technology and ET cells were opened in some other states. Studios with adequate hardware for production were installed. CIET was charged with the task of undertaking educational television and radio production, conducting training and research and performing as a central coordination agency for all production and utilization efforts. Along with SIETs, CIET aimed at the utilization of mass communications in a major way to meet various educational objectives. These projects provided examples of the use of modern methods of media planning and application. The application of media in education is an Indian situation. The applications of media in education in an Indian situation must take into account the availability of software and access to hardware. CIET conducted experiments in teleconferencing. The project seems to have reached suboptimal achievement levels, as after the initial planning, support systems were found to be lacking. The educational system has failed to appreciate the usefulness of the media programs in their educational plans. Television and radio sets were supplied to schools over many years. AIR and Doordarshan were chosen as the carriers for the broadcasts. As productions and broadcasts began, equipment and personnel were put up in place. So far as CIET and the SIETs were concerned, the production of video and audio programs became their main work. Computers in education. Indian experiments in taking computers to schools involved the participation of a large number of institutions for tasks such as the supply of hardware and software, the development of computer assisted learning packages and the training of teachers. A project called Computer Literacy and Studies, launched in 1984, was a joint initiative of MHRD, Department of Electronics and NCERT. It covered 42 resource centers and 2,582 schools. It made use of microcomputers provided by the BBC. The evaluation of the project by SAC revealed the need for greater interaction between resource centers and project schools, the need to reduce the time gap between the training of teachers, the installations of systems and the initiation of activities in schools, the imparting of adequate hands-on experience to teachers and students, and the provision of computer literacy programs in the timetable. The project had only a limited success and has been described at best as a spectator sport. Teacher training is one of the activities of the NCERT. The Regional Institute of Education of NCERT also have educational technology cells. Further, even in higher education, where it is recommended that teacher training in educational technology should form a part of their program. Through the various constituent units, NCERT takes charge of training teachers in different activities for both pre and in-service teachers. The efforts taken by NCERT in the implementation of educational technology in pre-service teacher education can be understood from these things. Introduces teachers to flexible models of reaching curriculum goals, introduces use of media and technology enabled methods of learning, making it inherent and embedded in the teaching learning process of teachers. Training teachers to evaluate and integrate available materials into the learning process. Enable trainee teachers to access sources of knowledge and to create knowledge. Educational technology also is a great help in the in-service teachers. It creates a system of lifelong professional development and support, especially of educational leaders and managers such as headmasters and principals. It encourages ICT literacy for official and personal use to increase comfort and later enhance creativity in educational work, supports the development of and nurture teachers self-help groups or professional development groups on the ground as well as online. Let us conclude the module role of NCERT in the development of educational technology as we discuss the various functions and initiatives taken by NCERT in introducing educational technology and implementation of educational technology at school education for the purpose of quality education and to reach to the unreached. The establishment of CIET is the most important initiative which was taken by NCERT in the development of educational technology. Educational technology initiated by NCERT has been reached to the field of education at various levels for different aspects of education, that is research, training of teachers, training of students, for the publications of journals and for the extension activities. So, here we can say the NCERT has taken a great initiative in the development of educational technology, and not only in the development of educational technology, but its implementation of educational technology at various levels of school educations. Thank you.